It's November 2023. WeWork Inc. has just filed for bankruptcy in the US.
Office sharing company WeWork has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
WeWork, once a venture capital darling, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
The company went from being valued at $47 billion to $45 million, and just 4 months later, the same company was filing for an IPO in India.
The latest startup to get listed has been WeWork, which recently launched an IPO worth 3,000 crore rupees.
WeWork India is coming to the market with a 3,000 crore issue.
The question is how. This is not just a WeWork story. It is a masterclass in business model design, founder psychology, and absolute governance failure. And for Indian investors, how to see behind the hype of a company valued at 50,000 crores when it asks you for your money. And to understand why India won and US failed, we need to realize how WeWork was started. It did not start with office spaces, started actually with baby clothes. Before WeWork, the founder Adam Neumann had a brand called Crawlers. Crawlers was absolutely going nowhere. Adam, being Adam, the eccentric guy that he was, once walked into a lift with no shirt and no shoes and started talking to a stranger. That stranger turned out to be the future co-founder of WeWork. His name was Miguel McKelvey. And from this chance encounter, they launched their first business, Green Desk. It was a co-working space inside a building of their landlord, Joshua Gutman. It filled up fast. 350 tenants, and it was actually profitable. But Gutman refused to expand by leasing out to third-party buildings. His exact warning, word to word, was, if tenants cancelled during a downturn, you were still on the hook for rent. Adam heard it and ignored it, and 12 years later, it was word to word why WeWork went bankrupt. Green Desk was safe, profitable, and growing, but Adam sold his stake for $500,000 and exited the company. He and Miguel started WeWork and signed their first lease at 154 Grand Street in Soho, Manhattan. Now, actually, the idea worked. The product was loved by everybody, but then came the money, and money changed everything. WeWork's early offices were great. McKelvey's design, glass-walled offices flooded with natural light. The business model here was simple. WeWork signed 10 to 15-year obligations with landlords, and in return, they rented their desk couch to members on monthly agreements, cancelable with a 30-day notice. Long-term costs and short-term revenue, and this mismatch was not a secret. In good times, it was invisible, but in bad times, it was existential. The math had always said this, but as long as the desks were full, nobody cared about the math. Now, here is where the story gets interesting. Real estate companies are valued at max 1 to 2 times of their revenue, while tech companies are valued at 10 to 20 times their revenue. Adam convinced investors that WeWork was not a real estate company, it was a tech company. Their main competitor was a company called IWG. They had many more locations, more customers, and was actually profitable. And yet, IWG was valued at only 8% of WeWork's peak valuation. What was the difference? It was that WeWork used the word tech enough times, and this single fictional word added approximately $40 billion to their market cap. By early 2019, WeWork was the largest private tenant in New York City. It was present in 27 countries and had 400,000 members. From the outside, the fastest growing company in the world. But from the inside, it was burning a staggering $3,000 every minute. So basically, by the time you finish watching this video, WeWork would have burned $45,000. And yet, the founder believed they were on track to a $1 trillion valuation. And then, a Japanese billionaire arrived with $100 billion and told Adam that he wasn't thinking big enough. Masayoshi Son is the founder of SoftBank Japan. His investment philosophy was simple: bet on founders, not spreadsheets. It's 2017. Masa-san has a meeting scheduled in WeWork for 2 hours, but he shows up late and only 12 minutes are remaining. Adam had staged the entire office like a theatrical set, all employees in position to celebrate Masa-san's arrival. Adam compressed the pitch and used his favorite word: we are a tech company, not a real estate company. Masa-san invites Adam into his car. Adam opens his iPad and starts continuing his pitch. Masa-san says, no need, pulls up his own iPad and signs the agreement for a $4.4 billion investment without negotiation. From this point, WeWork started opening 100 new offices per week, offered their clients 3 years of free rent. But the $4.4 billion investment was just the start. Now Adam had unlimited money and permission to do absolutely anything. And what he wanted to do was to take WeWork public and list it on the US stock markets. And here is where things started going downhill for WeWork. When a company wants to list on US stock markets, it has to submit an S1 document, which forces complete financial transparency. No hidden losses, no made-up metrics. WeWork called this Project Wingspan. Adam's wife Rebecca demanded a dedication page at the front. It read, we dedicate this to the energy of we greater than any one of us, but inside each of us. And I mean, I don't know how it made sense to include that in a financial document, but bankers begged her to remove it. She refused. In that document, the word community appeared 150 times. The name Adam appeared 169 times. The phrase office space, which the business was literally all about, appeared only 9 times. This single data point captures WeWork's fundamental problem. They are always trying to sell the story, not the business. Standard financial accounting requires EBITDA to measure financial profitability. But WeWork's EBITDA was so poor that they had to invent a new made-up metric called community-adjusted EBITDA. This removes costs like administration, marketing, design, and they give the justification that these costs would disappear overnight. What was the effect of this? A real loss of $933 million turned into a profit of $233 million. Now let me tell you the funniest part. Adam had personally purchased the buildings and leased them back to his own company WeWork. He collected $20 million in rent, with hundreds of millions more contracted. He himself had sold $361 million worth of stock while preaching long-term vision to the investors. He wanted to increase his voting rights to 20 votes per share. He also wanted a clause that if he ever left, his wife Rebecca would only be the one who would be chosen as his successor. Because of all of this mess, the IPO was officially pulled in September 2019 and Adam was forced out of the company.
Founder and CEO Adam Neumann is facing increased pressure to resign. The WeWork shares are plunging in the after hours.
Nearly $19 billion of debts and entering into a restructuring agreement.
It's absolutely wild. A real story of value destruction from $47 billion to bankrupt in just 4 years.
But Adam's exit package, a staggering $445 million. The IPO collapse was bad, but then came the final nail in the coffin, COVID in 2020.
There are now more than 4 million cases of COVID-19 worldwide. This milestone comes just 2 weeks after the world hit 3 million cases, meaning the pandemic is spreading with no signs of slowing down.
It's March 2020, global lockdown, offices empty overnight. WeWork had 10 to 15 year lease obligations on hundreds of millions of square feet worldwide. The members cancelled on 30 days notice, but the rent obligations kept coming for WeWork. COVID did not create WeWork's structural problem. It just made it impossible for WeWork to ignore it. In October of 2021, WeWork went public through a SPAC merger on Nasdaq valued at $9 billion. It's basically a backdoor listing process to bypass the normal scrutiny. From 2020 to mid-2023, WeWork accumulated an additional $11.4 billion worth of losses. And finally, by November 23, WeWork was valued at only $45 million. Bankruptcy was officially filed and a company called Yardi Systems acquired a controlling stake of 60% into WeWork. So how does the same company in the US go from $47 billion to bankrupt, and in India the same company goes from nothing to a profitable company listed on NSE? Let's do this comparison properly. WeWork India took 4 decisions that changed its fate from its US counterpart forever. This is the most misunderstood part of the story. WeWork India is not a branch of WeWork US. It is a separately incorporated Indian company, majorly owned by Bangalore's Embassy Group. It operates under a different brand license and pays 2.84% of its revenue as licensing fees to use the name WeWork. Now let's start with the 4 decisions that WeWork India took differently. Decision number 1. WeWork Incorporated signed fixed rent leases. Whatever happened to the occupancy, the rent obligations kept on coming, despite a global pandemic. While WeWork India introduced revenue sharing arrangements with landlords in select centers. If the center performs well, both parties gain the upside, and if the center does not perform well, both parties split the losses. WeWork's landlords were their adversaries, while WeWork India's landlords were their partners. This structural change altered the entire risk profile of the companies. Decision number 2. WeWork Incorporated based their whole business on startups and freelancers, the kind of clients to cancel the membership as soon as the runway shrinks, while WeWork India made a deliberate change and approached enterprise clients. By FY 24-25, approximately 75% of WeWork India's revenue came from enterprise clients, such as Amazon Web Services, JP Morgan, ICICI Bank, and such others. Average membership tenure for enterprise clients, 28 months, whereas WeWork Global's clients lasted for a few weeks or a few months. WeWork globally expanded into markets they did not even understand. In a transcript document, it was read that Adam Neumann was asking somebody whether Kuala Lumpur is a city or a country when WeWork had already opened there. WeWork India confined itself to only 8 Tier 1 Indian cities: Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Delhi, Noida, and Chennai. Mature center occupancy reached 81%, whereas only at 54% occupancy, WeWork India breaks even. So they were profitable at this time. So today, WeWork India is a publicly listed company. And if you are thinking whether I should invest into WeWork or not, here is what the headlines are not telling you. India's flexible workspace market, approximately 53,121 crores in 2025, projected to reach 97,680 crores by 2030, nearly doubling in 5 years. 3 structural demand drivers: India's global capability center boom as multinationals build Indian teams, over 1.5 lakh registered startups, and the post-COVID corporate shift where large companies now want flexible leases instead of 10-year commitments. WeWork India's IPO came in October 2025 and raised approximately 3,000 crores. But here is what you need to know. 100% of that 3,000 crores was offered for sale. What is offered for sale? It basically means that every rupee of those 3,000 crores went into the bank accounts of the existing shareholders of WeWork India. None of it went into the expansion or development of the company. So here's the honest question. If the business is so strong, why are the existing investors cashing out? WeWork India reported 128 crore in net profit for FY 24-25. But within that, a number sits, a deferred tax benefit of 285.7 crores. Stripping that accounting item out, the underlying operating profitability picture is more early stage than the headline implies. This does not mean that the business is failing. It is just at the very nascent stage of a profitable journey, not in the middle of one. Any content piece that justifies the 128 crore profit as clean and simple profit is actually lying to you. After watching this video, if you think, hey, I want to invest into WeWork, let me tell you the risks before you take this call. Risk number 1, brand license risk. WeWork India does not own the WeWork brand. It licenses it from Yardi Systems at 2.84% of the revenue. These conditions can always be renegotiated, and if this license is revoked, WeWork India can lose its entire identity. Risk number 2, occupancy fell from 83.8% in FY23 to approximately 76.5% in June 2025. In a business with 84% fixed cost, a 7-point drop in occupancy has an outsized impact on profit. Risk number 3, geographical concentration. 66% of WeWork India's revenue comes from only 2 cities, Mumbai and Bangalore. Any disruption in either of the 2 cities can lead to a company-wide problem, not a regional problem. So what lessons can you and I learn from the epic collapse of WeWork? WeWork Inc. was a great product dressed up into a catastrophically broken business model and a lot of fiction and stories which justified its billions of dollars worth of valuation. WeWork India took the same product, stripped out the fiction, fixed the model, found the right markets, and actually built something real. The lesson here is that business model structure, governance integrity, and ethics are much more important than any valuation. The next time a company worth 50,000 crores asks you for your money, ask them the questions this video just taught you to ask. WeWork didn't fail because the business was bad. It failed because the founders started thinking that they were bigger than the business. WeWork India proved that business without the ego actually works. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and share it as much as you can. And if you want more such content, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.